The first thing that I notice is that his background literally matches mine. Yes, we planned this 100%.
We did.
John K, what is up, man?
What's up, man? It's good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for doing this. This is kind of a weird moment for me. I like to admit that as someone in the industry for 10 plus years, I don't fangirl out too much anymore, but I don't think you understand the weight of this as you are technically part of the soundtrack of my life. And I
Wow.
know that's a lot to drop on someone via like a Zoom call. Basically, this is very like chat roulette.
Right?
But yeah, to run it back a little bit,
No.
I was moving to New York, right? And I had like
Uh-huh.
4 days notice, and I had just booked a gig with MTV. They were like, "Hey, we need you here Monday." I was in line at security at O'Hare, and someone sent me one of your tracks, and they're like, "Hey, have you ever heard of this guy? It's totally your vibe. I bet you're gonna love this." Like when you download that one new song right before you get on a plane, and then you have no internet connection. So
Yep.
there was two
Totally.
songs on rotation, and one was obviously "Welcome to New York," Taylor Swift, because like you have to. And then number two was "Wrong" by John Kay, and it was just
Interesting.
like it's literally we're gonna have to figure out a sync deal when Judd Apatow does like a situation on my life in 10 years or something.
Right.
That's how perfect
Right.
it was. But
Wow.
yeah,
That song.
yeah,
Hmm.
and been a fan since. Obviously, became a little more knowledgeable on your discography, OT, running. Found some stuff from a different project way back when, and then obviously, I don't have to give you any more well-deserved acclimates than you've already have. But if we never met, certified gold in April, over 100 million streams. You got to re-release it with Kelsey Ballerini. You got the new single 6 months. You are finally, and I don't mean this in a harsh way, but finally seeing a lot of the recognition that you very much deserve, man. So it's very nice to
Thank
meet
you,
you.
man. That was beautiful. Beautifully
Thank you.
said. It's all love here. And I'm blessed to be able to do the things that I love to do. And I have always had it on my heart to be a performer. And I didn't know what that meant for a long time. And I met a couple guys and a couple people in my life that always just inspired me to stay the course and to continue to grow and to write. And the journey has looked a lot different in a lot of different ways. And we've written different music that's captured kind of the moment that we were in there. And the next wave, I feel like, is going to be an accumulation of all the work we put in the last 5 years. So
Yeah, I want to touch on
thank you
that.
for,
You've been
yeah,
very very vocal about if we never met, obviously it's about your wife, but also it has a dual meaning for the group of friends and everyone in your life that you've encountered and that's been on this journey with you for this last chapter or chapters. You have an actual quote too that I'm going to take everyone that started with me to the finish line with me, and you go on to say, "Working with your friends is iron sharpening iron," which basically, it's beneficial to everyone. It keeps everyone in a good
yeah,
space, and it helps everyone involved. And I love that because I'm very much the same way. I have my crew of friends that all work in the industry too, and those that support me. And I think this says a lot about someone's character that virtually everything I've ever seen you do in a PR sense or in an interview, you're the first one to say, "Yo, it's not just me; it is everyone around me," and that's incredible.
yeah. And you'll continue to see that from everything I
Yeah,
do, everything leaning forward. It's who I am, and I know that I wouldn't be here without the people around me.
that's
I know that.
that's awesome.
I know that I wouldn't even be able to pursue this if I didn't have people that kept me in the
Hmm.
game and that inspired me to try different things. And you can kind of hear the growth from running to wrong to OT. And we tried different things, and that didn't all just come from me. I'm the type of artist where I'm a melody guy, I'm a vocalist, I'm a writer. I like to grow in every single sense of what it means to be an artist. And to do that, you have to continually be inspired by different people, different music, and be open to people calling you out and telling you when what you did was great, what you did could be better, and having all those different perspectives. And we fight like brothers, and I think the product ends up better at the end of the day because of that,
Yeah,
because we're always just all over each other. And the ironing sharpening iron is just a lot of times us being like, you're better than that. And to have the ability to like even receive that and not get
Oh yeah.
defensive is
It's a
that
learned
takes a
trait
long
for
time
sure.
to
I
learn
can't
too.
speak for you, but for me, it is. I think a lot of people see, they're like, oh, that's so awesome that your friend's there to support you. And yes, but support doesn't mean hype. Support means
No.
brutally honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have any hype men in my team. I have people that want the best, and it's a lot of cooks in the kitchen a lot of times. And there's some times where it takes longer to get a record mixed because we're truly trying to squeeze as much power out of it as we
Yeah.
can, and trying to make those little moments feel bigger and all those little transitions feel more special. And that's because instead of one person thinking critically about this song, we have five different backgrounds, five different perspectives, and five different angles, all just trying to say, well, this didn't hit me the right way. Maybe the lyric could be better here. And it is frustrating at times because sometimes you just want something to be
Oh
done.
yeah.
And when you're working on a record for 3 to 6 months, still ironing out little tweaks that you've taken time away from it and then gone back into it, it's like there is something to be said by once it checks all of our boxes inside the team, it is a song that we know is ready to be released.
And
And that's a great feeling.
it's got to be so frustrating to know when you're close. Like you can feel it. You're like, this is, as the kids would say, a banger, as it slaps. But you know, it's not quite there. And it's such a hard, honest moment to share with yourself when you're like, it's good. It's not there yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, there's so many times where maybe I've felt like it's done, and there's two other guys in the team
They're
who
like,
are like, "Oh, it's
they're
not
like, that's
there
cute.
yet." That's frustrating too because I'm like, "Yo, what are we doing? Like, what else can we do?"
We've been working on
but
this
then
for
when we do
7
find
days mixing. Come on.
what else do you want to hear?
Right.
And then when we find it, though, even sometimes I have to take a step back and be like, "You were right. You were right." And now it's hitting the right way, and that's the best feeling.
Right.
Ultimately, when it comes out, is the best feeling because we can't go back in and fix anything else.
I do want to speak on release and that kind of feeling in a second, but real quick before we jump into that, because it is an industry show and it does talk about kind of the journey. I think a lot of people think. I don't think, I know a lot of people think that the minute someone pops on the scene is when they started. And, we don't have to dive too deep in it, but to just run it back real quick, right? You have this kind of decade of determination, not just because of you, as you said, people keeping you in the game. In 2011, you're auditioning for American Idol. You get the golden ticket. You go to LA, and it doesn't work out. Not to any fault of your own. I think those shows are pretty transparent now that sometimes it's just right place, right time. And then you go back next year, right? And then you do it again. And then you go to Hollywood again. And then it doesn't work out, which is fine. You do, which I think is one of the coolest things. I did not know this ahead of time. You are, when it happened, the first American Idol contestant to ever get a project or album to actually chart before the season ended, which is insane. But this is what I want to speak on because I've been in a very similar situation where you get this level of achievement that people around you are going, you made it, and you're kind of like, cool, did I? And then it's not a false start. It's not that you didn't make it, but it's not what you thought it was going to be. It's not what everyone around you, not like the people that love you, not the people in your core five, but it's the people you went to high school with or that grew up around you. Like, oh, I saw you on TV once. How do you internally navigate that? How do you keep yourself, and how do those people around you keep you to keep pushing through that, to go, okay, that wasn't it. We're close, but we can, how do I keep going?
I mean, I think that there's always been a chip on the shoulder of this project. I think we know we have something special, and that comes from a lot of the teamwork of everybody being very, very motivated to continue to grow. And that's what the addiction is. It's it's growing through, and it's knowing that we're never going to stop. In my mind, we just started. Yes, we were able to release some songs. Yes, we were able to get signed by a record label, and that's when the work began. We always have the mindset of, okay, the work starts now. And that just continues. And I'm seeing everybody level up. My engineer is finding ways to maximize what he can get out of my vocal and find those warm pockets and he's created my vocal chain, and us as songwriters, the relationships that I'm building with the songwriting community in LA and also internally in this team, when we're building a song, we're learning each other more, and we're learning the more songs that we write, the more bad songs that we write lead us to that one good song. And then we're like, okay, we know why this
Right.
works. So that's where the iron sharpening iron comes in. And looking back at the time on American Idol, that was, in my mind, that was the foundation where I got addicted to the big stage. That's when I knew that I could grab a microphone and get that adrenaline rush and not turn it into nerves, but turn it into, okay, let's do this.
Right.
And that was the best thing
Well,
for me.
that's what I loved about seeing your performance on the Today Show in January. Is you were on the Today Show previously as kind of a featured artist with Elvis Duran, an awesome guy who I actually worked with for many years. And you're definitely that artist. It's like kind of got that holy ish, I'm here on that first performance. And the second performance, you just you got this je ne sais quoi. Like it's just this certain vibe about you that's like, all right, this is it. This is who I am. Projects
Like I'm
here,
supposed to be
full
here.
bands here, backup singers are here, and everyone, it clicked. And
Yeah.
to bring it completely to current day, how frustrating is it to have that performance and then you want to get those reps in, you want to keep exercising your stage muscle, and then you kind of can't, to no fault of your own, with a whole COVID situation. How are you staying up on it?
I mean, we've been able to just completely turn inward and finish a project.
Mm-hmm.
We've gone into quarantine as a full team, and I've quarantined with the inner circle to finish what will be the debut album. And it's been a really interesting time to reflect and to dive in to finishing these songs on a much deeper level and really going into the details even more than we normally do, which is very, very like fine tooth comb.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're getting these things sonically to be consistent, to be cohesive, for the album to feel like it has a full ride.
Yeah.
We have the time now to really think about every little nuance where the album is going to feel like almost kind of like a live show. Like we're putting it together like a set list, kind of like there needs to be a thread that goes through each of these songs to go on a little journey to tell a story.
Right.
Um,
So
and we're leaning towards.
Yeah, sorry. The energy that you have on stage is getting directed completely and solely on this. That's cool, because I don't know that there would be another situation. I know there's not another situation. I think we all know that, but that would be able to organically kind of incubate what's happening right now. And you're not the first artist that I've talked to that has kind of, I don't want to say thankful, because obviously this is a terrible situation, but you're appreciative of the opportunity to get to hyper focus on it.
Just trying to make the best of it and just trying to be as productive as I can to continue to keep my head up, keep the focus. And it's just a totally different perspective to look at these things this way. We get so geared up sometimes, and I think a lot of artists would agree with me, a lot of writers, is you get into write mode, and where you're writing 4, 5, 6 days a week, and you're just creating all of these ideas, but you don't necessarily have the energy or the time to take them all to the finish line. And so in order to move forward, we kind of took a step back and looked back at the catalog of all the songs that we've written over the last 3-4 years and said, okay, which of these feel right for this project?
Yeah.
And what feels right on my heart right now is love. And I've always had like If We Never Met is an interesting angle on love. And I think that we've been able to capture a lot of interesting angles on love songs that isn't the typical, love forward. I don't know. They're like kind of an atypical approach and concept to love. And we've been able to do that a couple of different times. And so I'm leaning towards the debut album being very focused around the idea of love and looking at it from a bunch of different lenses and a bunch of different ways.
What I love, to continue on the theme, is that I can tell how truly, genuinely excited you are as you talk about this. As you still talk, if we never met, I get it. It can be, as much as a song will mean to you, it can still be repetitive to keep speaking on the same single just because that was the first quote unquote success. And here's, when I first heard it, and I heard it, right when it got released because I have my Apple Music, my alerts on for artists I follow, and I didn't know that it was going to be the single either. It struck me as, oh, this is a very hard on your sleeve kind of song. And I'm friends with Max Schneider, and he wrote a song very much the same way for his future wife at the time called Lights Down Low. And he didn't know that was going to be the single. And this is what kind of excites me about where the industry is right now, is I think people are kind of hitting that point where they don't just want to hear what people think they want to hear. They want to hear transparency. They want to hear authenticity. And they can appreciate when an artist is actually doing that. When, 10 years ago, not to say that couldn't happen, it was just less likely.
Yeah. You don't know what's going to connect until it's happening.
Right.
You don't know what's going to hit home until you're looking back on it. And you're like, and then it's cool to listen through the different lens after you release something. And I started to see with If We Never Met, I started to see people sending their stories and sending how it connected to them personally. And that was kind of one of the first times that I saw a record truly connecting to people on a deep level where they felt like it was their story.
Can you ever prepare yourself to appreciate that fully? Especially if you're not expecting it?
Yeah, I mean, it's happening all the time in real time. Yeah. The more, you get those little moments where you're just kind of like, wow, I never expected. Because I in no way, shape, or form was writing that song thinking, wow, this is really going to connect to people. Right. That was actually one of the first songs that I just expressed my story and actually just told it how it was for me personally. Yeah. Not even trying to explore how it was going to affect other people. I was just telling my story. And I found in that, just being vulnerable in that moment, a lot of other people connected to that because it was very personal.
Yeah. Which is crazy because when you write something, this isn't you're not just saying this as part of an interview. You can validate it by literally listening to the lyrics where it's saying, what if I never left Nashville? I mean, if you're writing that, I'm sure you're thinking, how many people could this really apply to? And then, you have people going, literally, that is my story. And not even in the same, marriage sense that yours ended up in. It could be a career. It could be a family member. There's just so many things. And I think you're finding that in a lot of your lyrics because, Rum and Tequila off the same EP, that's a much more party vibe song. And the first line in it is, I'm working the late shift listening to Tay Swift. That was me, dude. I was working nights on a radio station listening to Taylor Swift when my call came. So I guarantee there's no way in hell you were like, I'm writing this for a radio DJ in Chicago, 100%.
No, I was. That was for you. I wrote that for you.
Thank you. That's what I needed to hear right now. I appreciate it. I want to speak on, just because we could get through it kind of quick because, we've pretty much covered the energy level of it. But I just think it's so cool. You're 12 out of 10 energy metaphor / lifestyle. If you want to give me a quick run back on that.
I got it on right now.
Oh, yeah.
My manager, Rob, we started doing a lot more shows. Well, what I miss so bad. I miss it so bad.
I think we all do. We all in our own way.
That's my favorite. That's why I really stuck this out. There's a lot of times I had to look in the mirror and say, okay, like, are we continuing on this road? Like, are we going to continue to struggle and get to the other side? And if the performing aspect of this whole career wasn't so addicting to me and I didn't love that so much, I'm not sure I would have survived it. Anyways, we started doing a lot more shows and it started to become a thing with my manager and I, where right before call, I'd be walking on stage getting ready to go and he'd look at me and he'd just go, 12. Wherever it was just a little moment. And he would just be like, let's go. Like, every single show has to have that, and you need to go and it just means like owning your space, being comfortable enough with yourself. We've rehearsed this enough. It. Anytime we do a live show, it's a celebration of the music that we've spent weeks, months,
years
to make. Years. And it is just truly celebrating with people who already love your music. They're already there to see you have a good time. And 12 just really made it click for me to just go out there like just full on ownership, just big personality, full hype. Like, you almost have to try to not let the adrenaline get too much of you, where your heartbeat is just racing and
Yeah.
I would find myself after the first and second song being completely out of breath and have to have the band take a second, take a sip of water, and be like, all right, talk to the crowd a little bit just to calm down, because you have so much good energy
Right.
up on that stage.
That's
So 12 is, and then we sold out Mercury Lounge, and it was the first John Kay sold out show in Mercury Lounge in New York
I'm
City.
glad you're bringing this up because I know exactly where you're going with this. So I need an explanation here, not to cut you off, but I just want to make sure I get this exactly right. Your great grandfather used to play with Louis Armstrong.
Yep. After
What?
hours, it was kind of just like, it was like this family. There's just so much pride.
Well,
So in
yeah.
music, in my family, the music passes through the Johns. So my great grandfather, his name was John, and I have his trumpet in one of these cases right here. Hold on,
Oh
let me
yeah.
get
No, we got to
it.
see this. And I want to kind of cover while you're pulling it out. Mercury Lounge is a very very historical, well-known spot in Manhattan. That I can only imagine the stories that have and continue to emerge from this venue. But for someone like you to be able to sell it out and know that your great grandfather, wow, dude, that is
My dad, another
yeah,
John, just sent me this, and he said he had it cleaned up and he wanted me to have it, and it's a
yeah,
reminder that I'm doing what I was supposed to be doing my whole
dude.
life. And I think that there is something to be said. My dad always grew up with music inside of him, and he always had a guitar in his hand and made sure he was singing to me and telling me about how, you know, his grandpa John used to gig after hours with
Oh
Louis.
my
And
gosh.
there's not a lot of footage of it because that was the culture back then.
Right.
They would play shows, and then they would stay out all night and just
Well, and it
gig
turns
and just
out in
jam.
those decades, iPhone batteries weren't super strong, so they were usually dead by the time that these shows would
Yeah,
happen.
you couldn't film it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes, and
it
they
was
didn't have as much storage on their phone and that.
yeah, they didn't have,
Dude,
they didn't have
can't
terabyte
even imagine.
iPhones. It was probably such a pure time of just music being free and
Yeah.
not doing anything to film it or for any other reason than you just
Just
love music. And
experience it.
so he used to play, one of his favorites and one of his really really good friends, my great grandfather John, was Bunny Berrigan, which is also a very well known um, trumpet player. And my grandma Bunny is named directly after him, who
Wow.
is my father's mom, who basically forced me from an early age to continue to sing. She taught me my first chords on the piano, and she forced me to go to the American Idol tryouts the first time, which that was my first audition for anything. So I was super green at that
Yeah.
point, and that just like in my mind was kind of I always say, you know, God had a plan with this, and He showed me the biggest stage, and then He kind of redirected me and took me to a place where He said, okay, that's what I have for you, but you just need to go on your own journey and you need to find what that means for you.
Right.
And that was kind of the anchor of my dad and I completely changing my life's path, moving to Nashville, starting to get into rooms, playing live, to like figuring out what it all meant. And then I met the team through that, and
Look at you now.
here we are.
Yeah. So you would say it's easy to argue that your great grandfather John started the 12 out of 10 energy mindset.
I would say so.
100%. Dude, that is such a
I would
cool
say,
story. I mean, I don't know if there was even a sliver of possibility that it couldn't live up to be a cool story when you hear like that kind of a footnote, but thank you for sharing that. First of all, I know that's got to be super personal.
yeah,
That's awesome. Speaking of 12
no,
out of 10, I know I'm not the Mercury Lounge in New York, and we're not the Vic in Chicago or anything like that. But would you mind doing a little bit of a live show right now?
yeah. Oh, so the necklace came about. It was the day before we were doing the final rehearsal for the Mercury Lounge
Yeah.
show, and Rob comes in and he's like, "Hold on. Let's. I want to give you something." And he
Oh
gave
man,
me the 12 necklace the day before, and it hasn't left my neck since
that is
that
so cool.
exact set.
Also, my manager, who I know helped set this up, by the way, thank you, Whitney. I I don't have the biggest neck, so if you just want to like size it out right now, just let me know what kind.
Yeah, hold on. All right.
I
I think it's
yeah,
similar.
right.
Hold your head up a little bit.
We're doing a full like tux fitting right now. Oh man! All right, so
Stop it.
what are we playing?
So I'm going to introduce you to Dante.
What's up, Dante? Dante, who, by the way, if you look up any of these videos, super talented guy. He's on everything from the Today Show performance to, of course, the acoustic performances, and he's one of your core
and
five.
We're roommates, so we're quarantining together, and we've been able to continue to work and continue to write and produce. He's a great producer, and we just genuinely enjoy what we're fortunate enough to be able to do. And what do you want to play?
Dude, it's up to you, man. Your song.
You're like, cool. Thanks for the help, man.
Yeah, thanks, bro. He's really great at helping me decide what song to sing for you guys.
All right. Ready?
Let's do it.
Okay.
If we never met, I'd be drunk waking up in someone else's bed. I'd be lost in a crowded room of fake friends. I wouldn't even know what love is if we never met. What if I never started singing? What if you never told your family you believe it when you felt the pressure? There's a million different reasons we shouldn't be together, but when I put it all together, it all comes back to you. I love it when the only light is me, you, and the moon. And baby, when I close my eyes, I'm thinking about if we never met. I'd be drunk waking up in someone else's bed. I'd be lost in a crowded room of fake friends. I wouldn't even know what love is if we never met. Hey, yeah. What if I never left Nashville? What if you never called me back when I asked you something stupid about the weather? It all happened for a reason, 'cause you put me back together. And when I put it all together, it all comes back to you. I love it when the only light is you and the moon. Baby, when I close my eyes, I'm thinking about if we never met. Hey, I'll be drunk waking up in someone else's bed. I'll be lost in a crowded room of fake friends. I wouldn't even know what love is if we never met. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, dude. So both of you super talented. That's incredible. Also adds complete validity to the fact that your karaoke song is "Ordinary People," John Legend.
Oh man, we're going way back now.
That was my high school like graduation song, dude.
I'm just waiting for Jimmy Fallon to play like Wheel of.
Oh yeah.
What is it? Impressions,
Right.
And it's gonna be like Wheels on the Bus, John Legend.
Well, what I love is you kind of, I mean, obviously you've gotten very, very good at your runs, and you've learned the lesson that I think a lot of musicians don't know sometimes, that, you can't just rely on that. But now you have them like pocketed. So whenever you want to break out these runs and these hums, it's going to be, I mean, you're already a showstopper. So just imagine when that happens. That's cool.
I'll never forget, I think the best advice I ever got was, I used to rely on runs a lot, and I used to try to overfill every space.
Yeah.
And one guy just told it to me how it was. He was like an old school cat in Nashville, and he was like, it's great that you can do all that, Now just don't.
Like, that is, you're so good at that. Now just stop.
Just
Don't
straight
do it.
up, just like, yeah, like, because I think it comes with songwriting too. Is it really is important to focus on the melody and not rely on riffs and runs to make something sound good. I mean, the melody is not a riff and a run. That's an ad lib.
Yeah.
And so to get the structure and the foundation of a song to be really strong, you know, focus on ad libs after you write a great song.
Completely. Dude.
If that makes sense.
Love it, man. I'm just right now. I'm just jealous that we're not able to like toast in the same room. Like, this is very it's a strange experience for all of us, I'm sure. But I do look forward to hopefully being able to hang out soon, talk music. We could do a proper interview. You know, when I'm the new Jimmy Fallon and you are just the John K, which you already are.
Right.
And we'll do the wheel of impressions, and I know way too much about you that I'll be able to screw with you.
Yeah, right. From the pink background, you know, in your parents'
soundtrack of my life, man. Like this is the makings. I'm gonna be part of that Course 6 now. Mark my words. I'll make it.
Okay.
Make it.
Hey,
Dude, I can't say enough nice things about you. You started as a very, very soulful, almost gospel-esque singer. You obviously still possess that. You can see that when you perform on stage. I love everything about what you're doing right now. The only thing I ask, and I think it kind of happened on the If We Never Met remix that I heard, I want to hear some more horns on some of these tracks.
Oh, bro. When I tell you I got you, just trust me. The new music we're about to put out, hopefully within the next couple months, is definitely a step. I really think you're going to enjoy it. Seeing as you're somebody who has followed us from the beginning, and I can't tell you enough how much that means to me personally.
Yeah.
Like, thank you so much. And we are moving in a place that is going to broaden out further, but we're fully exploring. I feel like I'm finally fully exploring what I can do to the fullest extent. And, you know, also to circle back, we also feel like we're just getting started. So it's a really, really exciting time for me, for my team, and we're all really fired up and ready to get some music out.
Oh yeah, man.
Man, I just got it. I'm the one that got the swag. I'm the one that got him sad. I don't do this here to brag. I just got it, got it. I'm the reason why you mad. I'm the reason why they